We are live, ladies and gentlemen. This is, I don't even know what episode, 280 something of You, Me, and BTC. Thanks for joining us. We're back on Twitch, streaming live just for fun. We're trying it out. Why not? It's exciting and new and different, and if it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with...
This is Tim, and actually I'm being sponsored by the same people that sponsor Ninja, and they're giving me thousands of dollars to talk to Daniel right now, so that's why you should join our Twitch channel.
Yeah, that sponsor that is sponsoring Tim for not even knowing their name. Not even giving them a plug, and they're still sponsoring Tim.
Well, see, this is why you don't understand. You got to keep things secret so people are interested.
That's true. That's true.
It's a secret. It's a secret ad.
Speaking of sponsors, our real sponsor is, at the moment, eToro. They've been good to us. We've been enjoying their platform with a virtual competition, a virtual portfolio competition. Oh, there we go. I sort of got the screen share cranked up. We'll get there at the end of the show. But you can find them at meandbtc.com/trade, and we'll catch up on the competition later in the show. I don't know at the moment which of the two of us is ahead, but I strongly suspect it's me. We'll get there later. So on the docket for today, as we promised last week, I randomly thought about how I want to complain about Amazon, incidentally, the owner of Twitch. But yes, I'm furious with Amazon, and I will share why. Well, there's plenty of reasons why, and I'm sure you could guess some of them, but that'll be in moments. Tim, you wanted to talk about real-life movie moments. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I had a vague idea. I think maybe the stream went down on Twitch, maybe?
Maybe the stream went down on Twitch.
Still going?
Did you click the pause button, Tim?
No, because now I'm refreshing it. It's only a 40-second clip because I saw it stop for a second and asked me if I wanted to watch one of your Rocket League videos.
Weird. I'm still seeing it going on my end. If it's not working, it's not working. I guess it is what it is. But
no, I was working doing something, and I don't really carry my phone. Like, I was cutting grass. With my grandmother, so it's this big yard.
With your grandmother? Around. She's still out there cutting grass?
What?
Did you say with your grandmother or for your grandmother?
No, for my grandmother. I should do it with her, though. I should just take her and make her bite all the grass. Rheumatoid arthritis. No, but I was doing that. I don't normally keep my phone on me because I just have earplugs in. So then I ran back. I'm like, I need to figure this out. And then probably within 5 minutes later, I was like, that's a dumb idea. That's so stupid. Why did I do this? Because I was like, maybe I should stop to go text something. I'm like, oh, I'll remember if it's good enough. And I was like, no, this is a good idea. I should remember. But I was thinking about
what's the idea? Hit me.
No, I guess I kind of just wanted to ask you specifically what made me start thinking about it was the wedding. And then, I mean, I have a few examples of a couple different things like this, but times, did you call me Timmy B on this video?
Yes. Yes, I did. Why? Yes, I did.
Okay, two examples. The one is where you kind of experience, as the person, you, Daniel, you experience something. You're like, oh, well, like whatever it is, whether it's looking at some atmospheric view, like going to the Grand Canyon. That's a bad example, but something like that where you kind of feel something. Okay. Or if it was a moment with somebody else, or if you're in a situation that just seems a little bit too scripted. Okay. So I have that, or but in a good way. And then two, situations where you've been in where you can kind of tell that the person who you're interacting with or whatever, they're playing some kind of movie in their head that they're starring in, and then they're trying to do lines to you, and you're just I get that a lot in talking to people where I'm like, do you think you're on a podcast? Why are you talking like this? What is the point of, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no one's being entertained by this. I'm sitting here with you.
Okay. So the first half was moments that feel like they should be in a movie.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you specifically, like, well, yeah, never mind. Say whatever you were going to say.
Well, I was just processing that, trying to think if I've ever come across
kind of a
them.
dumb question.
I mean, I have had moments, I don't know, some people might call them moments of clarity or just strong emotion. I don't know, moments where it could be good or bad, I guess, but probably the good ones are worth talking about more, where things just feel I mean, Grand Canyon is, I do think it looks nice, but I've never had some kind of like, you know, extraterrestrial experience. Yeah. But I could see how people would, for sure. I mean, it is crazy, you know. I mean, even just looking at the sky at night, you know, when you see a bunch of stars and stuff, I mean, those kind of moments I could see are, I guess, just like emotion-filled, spiritual, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I guess spiritual. I mean,
it'd be an extreme emotion, and like you said, it's either way, bad or good. But but not just I'm really sad, and it's about this like complicated thing, but just it's not so much like a different moment. I think the way I'm thinking about it, you could easily have this in what would look from the outside a mundane situation, but your head just hits certain way, like you smell something or you see something that kind of triggers something.
So that it's kind of like I did a show with Ryan. Oh, I don't know, a week or two ago. I don't actually know if I posted it yet. I'm pretty sure I didn't. So keep an eye out for that. But we did a show and we started talking about, for whatever reason, we just bumbled into a discussion about anxiety and depression, which we've actually covered briefly just in the past few weeks as well. Maybe that means it's on our minds.
Yeah. I mean, I was complaining. I was like, I'm thinking about dying.
Well, one of the tangents Ryan was explaining was like when he was like late for a soccer game or something, and just like slowly, I'm not going to go and explain every step of the process that he explained, but he's like, well, I was late for my soccer game. And I was like, well, if I'm late, then I'm never going to be able to do my job again. And I'm not going to be a responsible human being. And if I'm not a responsible human being, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. And if I can't pay my bills, I'll probably end up on the street and I'll just be this homeless guy. And he went, it's just like the irrational line of thinking that can crop up in anyone's mind at any time, whether it's like anxiety related or just any kind of irrational thinking. I get the feeling a lot when I'm falling asleep. I start like in my head, I start coming up with all these plans. It's not a dream, but like I'll just like think of a great idea. Like, oh, I could make a song. I could make music, and it's going to be electronic music, and it's going to sound like this. And then there probably could be choreography for it and bright flashing lights. And like as I'm falling asleep, I like put all this stuff together in my head, and it's like, that's genius. It's going to be perfect. I'm going to make such great art. But it's the same thing. It's just this like irrational line of thought that just goes and goes, and step by, it's only slightly irrational with each step, but it just goes and goes. And I guess the reason I brought all that up is to ask if that's kind of the same thing. It's like a spiritual experience is where you just kind of get caught up in the moment and you put all these things together that kind of go together, but you like I said, each step is only slightly irrational. But when you put it all together, it's obviously just overkill.
Yeah, well, that I would say more in a positive light, as like those moments are the times where we're not like telling ourselves to be rational. We're not worrying about, well, does this make sense? Like, I think I've read something about like times whenever you are falling asleep, like that kind of in between is where there is a change. You're thinking, obviously, because your brain's starting to change its rhythm, and I think it is that there's a little bit less, not like inhibition like alcohol, but inhibition in what you're going to think about and like where you're going to take that. And instead of like you're talking about like making, I have that a lot with trying to think of things to write. And then I go, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, I should write this
Yeah.
down. I need to get out of bed and make sure I remember that. And I look at it. This was also a lot more prevalent whenever I was doing the stand-up. And I just, yeah, that's funny. And then I look at it. This doesn't make any sense at all. And that was 90% of the time. But it's like you're kind of just, you don't worry about backing it up later. You just go, oh, well, that thought's cool. But then you realize that because the only reason why that thought's cool is because you had 20 other ones that didn't really have anything to do with it and also didn't really make that much sense.
Yeah, it's almost. I like the positive spin. It's like this doorway. It really is spiritual, I guess, is the word. Like people would say that. Yeah, it's like a doorway into like another place where things do make sense a different way. Like, you know, you're defying logic, but in the moment it's true for you, which yeah, I mean, it's like a suspension of disbelief, but it's also like, hey, if you're falling asleep and you think it's funny, like, funny is just how you feel about something. And so if that's how you feel about something, then it is hilarious, you know? Or if in my head I'm seeing all these flashing lights and stuff with amazing electronic music, it's like, I don't know. It's like it does exist for me in that moment. So it's like, I mean, this is getting a little too maybe
meta, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
I get what you mean, though, because
what? I don't know. Psychotic.
I don't know if it's fully psychotic yet, but I get what you mean about humor is just a reaction to something. That's kind of why, like, stand-up and comedy in general, I mean, not any worse so than like actors and movies and stuff like that, but we have, it seems like, and I think I can remember this happening like while I've been alive, we've started to take comedians really seriously versus actors where we're just like, yeah, no, it's an actor. He has no idea what he's talking about. But comedians were like, he made a really good point. Like, yeah, maybe, or else he was just trying to be funny. And most of the time, if you really break things down, it doesn't really make that much sense for each individual person.
That I was thinking that just the other day because I had some guys over, but it was nothing crazy. We were just hanging out on the porch and we had YouTube running. And
that's a nice porch. I haven't been there. Sorry.
Yeah,
I've
you got to get out here.
Though.
You got to get out here. But so we just queued up a bunch of YouTube random skits like SNL or, you know, late night TV guests or whatever on YouTube. And it's funny that you say that because you just said something about comedians or responding to comedians like, oh, yeah, he made a good point. Because that is exactly the thought that went through my head like at least 5 or 10 times. And I remember it because I almost said it out loud. I did say it out loud once. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if like every comedian that we watched here tonight, they were just like 2 or 3 minute clips. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I just said out loud like, oh, he's got a point there in response to every single one? Because they do. Like they have a point to make. And when it's humorous, like it kind of puts it in perspective like, oh, like these people are just idiots, but this is the truth. It's obvious. That's how a lot of humor comes off. Like,
yeah,
I wish I could remember some of the examples of like what we were watching and what they said, but yeah, they all have points, and I don't think I'm opposed to that. I think it works well. I mean, it can be misused. But what does that matter? Just because I think it's just because I don't agree with the point doesn't mean that humor doesn't help make the point. Like I've talked quite a bit on the show about John Oliver and the show Last Week Tonight that it's an HBO show, but they put the main segment on YouTube every week. All his points are like, we need more federal funding, we need more money, we should be regulating these people way better. I don't agree with any of that. But I think that the way he makes his points is amazing. I think it's hilarious and clear and well-researched and hilarious. So I guess all I'm saying is humor, for better or worse, it definitely does it gets points across.
Oh, yeah. Well, because I think, and this is me being negative, I took the pause way before. And yeah, like you said, just because I don't agree with the one point being made this way, like it's comedy sometimes seems to be cheating for things because it is exactly what you said, where it's, well, these people are crazy, and I'm definitely right. And as long as the other person doesn't get a chance to rebut that because they're not there, and as long as the crowd doesn't start yelling at the person for being wrong, it's really easy to just like pile on to something as long as you make it fun. But humor is huge. I mean, that's, I think, a huge part of why, a huge part of why Trump got big was he would just trash someone. And it's kind of hard to reply to that in kind of traditional political ways. Traditional political is like, we're nice, we're kind of like decent to each other while we're talking in debates, but then on our ads, we're like, well, this person's obviously Satan. I don't even know why you're even considering not voting for me, but if you do, you're definitely going to hell. So then, like, because you either make the point and make them look silly, or you don't necessarily make the point, they respond and get all angry, and then they look silly. So you're normally pretty good, unless the joke just completely falls flat, which is, I'm very used to that as well.
Yeah, it's tough because on the one hand, it's like, it seems like, oh, that's great. Like, I love humor, and humor is so powerful. Like, isn't that a great thing about life, is that humor has power and can make, you could all bring world peace into the world through humor. Like, it sounds like amazing when you realize how powerful it is. The problem is it doesn't really matter, because you can just as well make terrible points with humor. Like I said about John Oliver, I don't agree with any of his conclusions. I don't want to chuck money at or regulations at people and chuck money at education funding or whatever. Like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. And so, yeah, it's this weird conundrum, because it's like, it sounds great, but it could be used. It's like anything. So, it sounds great, but it could be used for bad stuff too. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's what we've observed here tonight. How did we get on there? I talked about dreams and movie moments. What was the second half of your? Oh, people who think they're in movies.
Like you're talking and then you start, they're like doing lines with you.
Yeah.
Or something.
See,
like
actually, that's a lot. That goes back to the humor thing as well, because a lot of times when people act that way, I have a couple friends that come to mind. I'm sure everyone does it to some extent, but I have a couple friends that come to mind. One of them is, I love him. He's one of my best friends, but it is kind of like that, where every single thing he says is supposed to be funny in some way. Like, it just the dumbest jokes. I was friends with him in college, and yeah, like, I don't even know how else to say it other than everything to him, and not in a bad way. It just, he would joke around all the time. That's the only way I can put it. I wish I could explain him better. Another friend, similar, but it is more about, like, it's not about being obnoxious and crazy. It's more subtle. Like, he tries to make puns in almost like every sentence that he says. It's almost like Family Guy versus South Park. Family Guy is just pretty obnoxious, but I still think it's funny. And South Park is also obnoxious, but a little more subtle, probably a little more thought behind it. And that's my other friend, who is constantly making jokes. Almost every sentence, obviously not literally. Like, if he's in the middle of a meeting trying to work or whatever, he'll work. But aside from that, he'll try to fit puns into a ton of sentences. Is that the kind of stuff you're referring to? People like that? Yeah,
where it's... Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing as I can way to explain is they're doing a bit. And I'm like, you're waiting for me to laugh now. Maybe you're waiting for it. Normally, it isn't one-on-one. Normally, it is in a group of people. that I definitely see that come up a lot more. It's real weird when people do it with just new people.
Yeah.
But yeah,
one of the weird things there is like, if I guess the actual funniness, the funniness can vary. So it gets awkward if like you're lolling 80% of the time, and then that other 20% comes up, and you're just like, ha ha ha. I mean, yeah, I agree. Like you're saying it as if it's annoying, and I would agree. A lot of the times it can be. So it gets weird when it's like, sometimes it's not annoying. Like sometimes it is funny to me. I mean, I probably have a pretty low bar for humor. I laugh at a lot of stuff. So a lot of times it's funny to me, but then if it's not, it's like, well, now what do I do? Do I humor them? Haha, do I humor them? Or I don't know. Do I just ignore them? Do I tell them that was not funny? I guess that's, you can get away with that a fair bit. If you're just like, if it's like a dad joke and you're just like, yeah, not funny. That's not rude. That's just true. I don't know.
well, you're also just a rude person too.
That's true. Also true.
The times where it is especially weird is whenever you can't just be like, oh, I didn't realize there's stuff in the background of my camera. Is whenever you can't really get away with telling somebody that, yeah, no, this is kind of weird. Can you not do that? I think that would be the difference between like somebody you consider like a really good friend versus, even if you know the person, there are certain people that you can't be honest with just because they're going to be so emotionally bothered by it.
I would say it's weird. There's like two extremes where you can't be honest with someone. One is when they're so far, at least for me, I'm sure other people have different attitudes towards different people, but for me, there's two extremes. One is if they're clearly superior to me in some way, whether they're my boss or just a lot older than me, or like, I don't know, like a friend of my parents or something. Like if they're clearly above me in some way, I'm just going to have that awkward, like, be polite, haha, yeah, and just, I'm not going to be honest about anything with them. The opposite of that is if they're clearly, again, this is probably a weakness on my part where I tend to think that people even could be below me. But if in the back of my head I think that someone is below me, like I can't be honest with them. Like I just think they're too stupid. Like, well, it's a combination of like, you're too stupid to, like, it's just not worth me correcting you. I'm not going to point out that you're not funny because you're just stupid, and it's not worth me telling you that. Or like,
I don't like how you're talking to me while you're doing this.
or,
I feel attacked.
Yeah. This whole example was about Tim, to be honest.
It's very deep, yes.
Yeah. Or yeah, it's just if I think that if they're below me in some way or not as smart as me in some way, which I will freely admit that I shouldn't think that about people. It's probably a weakness that I have. But if I do tend to think that in the back of my head, then I'm not. Yeah, I will humor them. I will laugh at them politely, just because I don't feel like getting into a discussion with them about what's funny and what's not, because they'll probably disagree, and then I'll probably hurt their feelings. And yeah. So that. But then there's the people that I could be honest with, which. I don't want to get too gushy here, but yeah, I mean, Tim would be one of those people that I could tell anything. Ryan Toffel, I could pretty much tell him anything. Pretty good friend of mine, and so there's people like that too, where you are really close, and then yeah, if Tim tells a dumb joke, he's not getting away with it. So
no, Daniel doesn't give me any of the credit that I deserve.
Exactly.
But I can handle it. I'm not bothered by it ever.
No,
I don't get.
I give you all the credit you deserve, which is none.
That's not nice.
Okay, I mean, yeah, Those people do exist for sure. And hey, I've been there too. Like, especially when I'm around certain friends that, like the two friends I thought of a while ago that like I said, like they try to be funny a lot. I join in because they're also really good friends of mine that I could pretty much tell anything. And I join in. And I guess I'm okay with that. Like, I know in some ways we said it's obnoxious when you try to do bits constantly. But I mean, if I'm around people that are doing it and I'm friends with them, I mean, I'll join in. I don't think I'm ashamed of that. Should I be?
No, I mean, there's not much else you can do besides sit there and be just the person who's an asshole who's like, I don't want to have fun.
Yeah. All right. I just needed Tim's validation there that it was okay for me to do that.
There you go.
All right. All right. Are you ready to bash Amazon? What's your least favorite thing about Amazon?
I'll go with Amazon. I'm mostly that Jeff Bezos left his wife for just as ugly of a woman. That's mostly of what I'm pissed off about Amazon. No, seriously about Amazon, it's probably most of my annoyance just comes from seeing their packages everywhere. It's like everybody is buying from, because I'm walking around Pittsburgh, walking dogs, and I either see the packages there or I just see these signs about putting it over a gate and everything. I'm just like, why can't people just go to the store? Why do you need everything just shipped to you? But then I'm like, oh, I love having things shipped to me. That's Amazon is always fine with me whenever I get the package and I'm like, ooh, this is nice. It doesn't even have to be anything particularly nice. I get like razors and something to fix a mic, and I'm like, ooh, this is so much fun.
It's coming today.
Yeah. I like look and I hit I look at the tracking number every 5 minutes. Like, oh, it's getting closer. It's getting closer.
Yeah. I've been there. I've been there for sure. I do still use Amazon despite my qualms with them. I mean, there's plenty of philosophical, like, oh, they collect your data and they're tech giants and they don't, you have no privacy and they sell your data and yada yada. Oh, and they don't treat their workers well enough and they're just running through warehouses and.
I could care less about the Amazon workers that they don't have a time to piss. Like, I've worked shift work. Yeah, you're not supposed to go piss. If you're literally pissing yourself, I'm sure people will be like, yeah, no, don't piss on the floor. Piss back. But you eventually get used to it. After like 5 days, you can have schedule. And I've noticed that quite, like, have you had a job? What was like at
Chick-fil-A?
Doing like the fast food stuff. Were you guys kind of like stuck someplace?
You could be, especially not for that long, I'm sure. And like over lunch, you'd have to try to get so many cars through the drive-through per hour. And it would kind of suck even if you just had to pee for a minute and a half. Like, that would kind of throw things off and they would kind of discourage that. But at the same time, like if you had to, you totally could and everything would be fine. So...
Because I've only had the one job like that where you couldn't just go to the bathroom whenever. But then whenever I was doing that, I was fine. But then as soon as I would that and then doing like the landscaping was hard sometimes. I've pissed outside so many times in my life, but sometimes you can't find a space. There's no blind spots for the entire neighborhood. But then you kind of get used to it. But then as soon as I work someplace where I can kind of just go wherever, I'm pissing like every 10 minutes or something like that. So I care less about Amazon than not being able to go to the bathroom and go pee. Just don't get a warehouse job. I don't
True. Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. I mean, no one's making those people have those jobs. If you don't like it, leave. Yeah, you might have kids to take care of or whatever, but that's not Amazon's fault. So there is that. But aside from all those philosophical big deal whatever, are they environmental enough or whatever, even aside from that, even just down to actually using them, like even if they were great people with great intentions, even the actual user experience has just started to suck lately. Like, Facebook does the same thing. Like, even if they were great people with great intentions and they didn't sell your data, Facebook just sucks to use. It is so slow. And I'm on a desktop with great specs and great internet connection, and it is still just so slow because of all the calculations and algorithms that have to run in the background, and you have to wait for all these connections. And even just clicking like your notification icon, it loads a spinner for like 3 seconds before you can see your notifications, because they have to decide which notifications you can see and in what order. All that kind of bullcrap. And so the same kind of thing with Amazon. Like, even if they were great people and they did nothing wrong, it just sucks to use them anymore lately. And so let me think of whatever examples I can. Last week, I kind of briefly mentioned, like, it's hard to find the cheap stuff anymore. Like, half the time, even if you sort price lowest to highest, it doesn't actually sort price lowest to highest. Like, there might be like 4 or 5 sponsored items with higher prices, and then you get to the lowest price. Or in the middle of that, there might be, it might start out at $1, then $2, then $3. And then all of a sudden, there's like $24, Amazon's Choice. $29, Amazon's Choice, 4.9 stars. It's like, I didn't ask for any of this. I asked for the cheapest thing. And half the time, you can't even find the cheapest thing. And if you do, all of a sudden, there's like $12 shipping. It's like, so all of that is just like, I'm sure they want that. They want that to have $12 shipping because they want you to step up to the $24 Amazon's Choice thing, where then you need another $6 or whatever to get free shipping. And so then you end up buying a $12 item that is probably only worth $3, but it just, it makes me mad. And yeah, the reviews like suck. I'm sure it's a big factor is just the amount of influencer marketing that goes around these days, where people will not exactly pay for reviews, although I'm sure plenty of people do pay for reviews. But even if you don't pay for reviews, just like the way you hype up your product and gather an audience and then send an email blast to 400,000 people about your product and encourage them to rate your product, and then you do get some Instagram models to review the product, and all of a sudden it's got 4.9 stars, but it sucks. Like, it's like regularly not even reviews, but also, or not even on-site Amazon reviews, but also on other websites when they review Amazon products, like, these are the top 25 Father's Day gifts. No, they're not. They're the weirdest things that you could find on Amazon that people might buy and get you a commission. Like, if you looked up for Father's Day gifts and tried to find like some sort of grilling accessory, you're not going to find a cheap spatula. You're going to find a $49 electronic Bluetooth spatula that nobody wants.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I mentioned something about
Huffy Puffy over here. Sorry,
Huffy Puffy. That's like what we were talking about, or what I was saying last week about Bitcoin. Like, you just kind of need to write an article, so you kind of just make stuff up. So then you're like, yeah, your dad definitely likes this spatula. Most dad, like, we've done records.
Well, even if it's not like some fancy Bluetooth spatula. Even if you're just looking for like strictly a plain spatula, they're not going to show you a $2 spatula. They're going to show you a $9 like stainless steel with equivocal blasphemous rubber designed by the Amazon rainforest.
Non-stick, completely natural, organic. It stirs while it also cooks your food, but not only using 5G microwaves.
It's I guess like the dollar store is what I'm looking for on Amazon, and I don't get it. Like, even like you go to the dollar store, you can find like 3 rolls of tape for $1, But even if you go to Walmart, it's like $1.50 for one roll of tape. It's like, whoa, wait, what am I missing here? So I'm a fan of the dollar store. I don't actually go that often, but I should, because it is way cheaper without question. But that's kind of how I feel at Amazon. It's like I'm looking for the dollar store. That's what you expect. I mean, not as much these days, but still, even with all these mistakes and screw ups that Amazon does that I just explained, even then, still you're looking for a deal when you go to Amazon. Everyone is. They don't exist. Maybe that's my number one concern, is that deals just don't exist on Amazon anymore.
Well, yeah, because I think Amazon went from being like, yeah, you can definitely get it cheaper here than going to the store, to, do you really want to go to the store? Do you want to go see those people? No, you want to come to your house. You want to be able to have a nice little account where you get 2-day shipping all the time. You also get to watch all these movies.
It's 1 day now. 1 day guaranteed.
Well, okay. Do you get that for just having Prime?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
but it's only certain items. That's how they get you too. It's like 2-day shipping guaranteed, or 1 day, but only for these items.
Yeah, only for Amazon approved.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I remember doing like for summer reading when I was in high school, or just for books in general, and I'd go on and just find like the book for a cent.
Yeah, with like 99-cent shipping.
Yeah,
exactly.
And maybe that's just because maybe the deals thing is because they don't allow as many third-party sellers. Maybe
I think they still allow them. They just don't. You just don't notice them because they're not worth. It's not worth using a third-party seller because the shipping is higher, or it's used like new. Like I like, yeah, most of the products that you see are just straight through Amazon, or if it is a third party seller, it's just the ultimate crap. Like, freaking throw pillows from China they literally, my wife got these before.
The clothing on Amazon is like that.
Clothing, definitely. Yeah. I don't know if I've bought socks on Amazon, but see, even then, like, I doubt it was a deal. I bought socks on Amazon because I don't like going shopping for clothes. But I found the cheapest socks I could find, and I'm sure it was not a deal. I'm sure I could have found cheaper socks at Walmart, and heck, they probably have socks at the dollar store too. Like, I found the cheapest I could find, and I'm still sure it wasn't a deal. That's probably the root of everything I'm trying to say here. Is it's just there's no more deals. That's probably it.
There's no more deals for Daniel to think he's getting a steal, and he's
right.
Like, yes.
It's true. Or they do have deals on Woot, which is owned by Amazon. They're a little bit harder to come by because it's like one deal per day, but then they also have like a whole shop on Woot. So like, even though it's technically one deal per day, you can still go to Woot and find a whole list of like gaming computers that are kind of discounted. And then the 1 day deal is usually decent. Sometimes it's off-brand. Oh, it's refurbished a lot. It's a lot of refurbished stuff. But normally I'm okay with that. So Woot, I'm fairly happy with Woot. It's just most of the time I just don't need what's for sale at Woot. But if I need something that is for sale at Woot, it's great. I just don't need it most of the time. They just have a much smaller selection of stuff because it's only like bargain bin stuff. But okay,
I don't think I've ever used. Yeah. They have a robot vacuum for sale. Great.
Which vacuum?
The Shark Ion RV 700, $100.
Frick! I spent like $450 on mine.
We'll be honest. This thing we had here was really not rocking it. So we give it to you. I don't know. Yeah, I get what you mean. I think that is definitely just because they realized they could just not do that anymore and make more money. And then people would just be, I'm just going to buy socks here because I'll just add it to an order. I need to buy. There's definitely some things that I just can't, like, whether it's supplement stuff or like the razors for the safety razor I have, it's hard to find those. I don't know exactly where to find them in a store, and it's normally just easier than going into, like, supplement stores are a big thing, because as soon as you go in there, they're like, well, have you checked out our pre-workouts that have 600 milligrams of cat? I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah, but you need some creatine too. I'm like, no, just give me BCAAs and some multivitamins, please.
Yeah. So the one saving grace that Amazon has, I'll do a quick shameless plug. They are worth using for sure whenever you use Purse, because Purse connects you with people that want to buy Bitcoin, basically, and they buy stuff for you on Amazon, and you give them Bitcoin. And Purse has a very, especially compared to the old days, I was using Purse before it was called Purse, but it's super easy to use lately. You used to have to do some convoluted stuff. Super easy now. You just search and buy. And here's the kicker. The reason it's a huge saving grace for Amazon is because you get a discount, like easily 10% or more. So that turns it into a deal. When Amazon tries to screw you over on socks, but then all of a sudden you get 17% off, okay, that's a deal. And so for whatever that's worth, if you want to check it out, we do have a link at youmeandbtc.com/purse. And I do love them. If you've listened to us for, since the beginning of the show, you'll know that they're great. Even large purchases, if you're going to buy a new computer for $1,200 and you can get 12% off, and you can. Like, I'm not exaggerating here. Like, these numbers are, people assume that you're exaggerating when you say stuff like that. Like, no way. You can't get 15% off anything on Amazon. It's only going to, you only get deals when it's like, Black Friday, and it's a brand name item anyway. Like, yeah, you could get a $50 tote bag for $10. Okay, well, yeah, that's because it's not a $50 tote bag. But no.
Yeah, no, as much as I have complained about them before because of random shipping, and then also because I'll just randomly get extra things that I don't know. That only happened once out of a few times where something didn't come. But yeah, as long as the person buys everything wish list, as long as everything's applicable for your wish list, which again, that's where, like, the real kind of shady third-party market things sometimes won't work, but I've had other times where they've worked fine. Yeah, when I bought my Chromebook, I got that, a bunch of stuff. I think I spent, it would be like $400 when I got 18% off on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's
definitely,
a lot
if
of
you
money.
have the Bitcoin to spend, and if you're going to, like, even just buying, like, boots, like some hiking boots and a laptop and then a mouse. It's nice to get stuff together then, too, and you kind of just set up like that. I mean, all the microphone equipment.
Right.
My speakers, yeah.
Yeah, so it is third party, so you do have to, it's a little different. You have to log into a different website, and you have to have Bitcoin, and you have to, wait till it comes and then confirm that you received it. That's all true. So that, it's not exactly the same as Amazon, but I'm willing to say it is darn near close. And yeah, if anything is shady, it's all escrowed. So I'm not going to say you can't lose money on Purse, but it's escrowed. So if anything goes wrong, you just tell them, hey, the item never came, and the money won't. I can't promise that you'll never lose money, but I never have. Yeah. They've had great customer service for me, so there's that.
I lost money one time, and I was on vacation whenever it finally came, and then I was like, well, it hasn't showed up because there was somebody it was when I was still living with my parents, and I just couldn't really. Maybe if I had kind of like fought them for a little bit longer, but I mean, it also just made complete sense that it just got stolen. I don't know if maybe if Amazon treats that a little bit different, if it's like wish list versus you buying it for yourself. Maybe that it's an easier way to try to scam them.
I don't know, but I've been extremely happy with them, and I've never lost money because I'm not Tim. So for whatever that's worth, guys, if you want to saving grace Amazon in any way, it's you, me, and btc.com/purse. Then again, you're also supporting Amazon because you're still technically using them. So maybe it's a terrible idea, but it's great deals. It seriously is great deals, especially for bigger purchases. So, yeah. Tim, are you ready to show off your eToro portfolio real quick before we wrap it up?
I don't know if I'm exactly ready.
Are you ready?
It's not as bad as it could be, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay. Let me flip over here to the old screen share so I can go back and forth between Tim's face and Tim's screen and my portfolio. Oh, getting a reload here. So here's eToro, guys. They are our latest sponsor, and we are very grateful for their support. And we would love your support if you want to use them. You can support us by trying out eToro through you, me, and btc.com/trade. You can buy Bitcoin. You can sell Bitcoin. And here's the thing. They've got 14 different cryptos that you can buy and sell. And this is their platform, guys. Super slick. Here's the interesting thing. So we did a show a few weeks back basically emphasizing how easy to use this was. And the way we did that was by booting this up without ever having touched it before and setting up a watch list and buying cryptos without ever having touched this dashboard before. And it worked great. It took less than 10 minutes. And we already had a watch list and a portfolio started and all that. Because the portfolio is instant. You can get an instant virtual portfolio worth $100,000 and use that to test and to experiment. It's so fast, so easy to start learning how it works. But yeah, so we started real quick, real easy, real smooth, real slick. But here's what I've been learning. It can also be, if you like, it can be really, really fancy and technical. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff I've noticed in here. The charts get really intense if you want them to. So let's look at here Bitcoin some, and let's drop into a chart. Here's all my Bitcoin positions. That's another thing I've learned. You can. Well, I'll get to that in a second. I don't want to get sidetracked here. I want to show you the Bitcoin chart. They have this huge fancy charting tool with all these cool tools up here. So here's the chart over a couple months, and all these options on the upper right. Crazy stuff. You can change the candles. Oh, look at all this. Time zones, studies, tools. I haven't messed with all this, but you can switch to line charts. Whatever you like. I do like lines mostly. The candles confuse me a little bit. But then, here's where it gets really crazy. You can do all this analysis with all these lines here or whatever. So, horizontal lines, you can just chart those as a marker or whatever. Or you can do a Fibonacci line. And I don't even know what this means, but it means a lot of stuff to some people, and it's crazy. And you can just start, check out the Fibonacci numbers over a given time range. I'm not going to dive into this stuff too much because I'm not a trading expert. I'm just here to show you that if you are, it's not like a few weeks ago we were saying it was easy to use. Now I'm just showing you, wow, you can do some crazy stuff with it. So here, this is a ray. You can plot extra lines, and it's fancy. It's fancy. Oh, and it's dark mode too, because originally it was light. I made it dark because I like dark mode. So, and that's just a few of the tools. Like, look at all this stuff. You can doodle. So it's great for analysis. I'm probably going to do some streams someday where I do draw lines that actually mean something to me, and just have fun trying to guess what the price might do. Anyway, all that to say, it was easy to use when we first started, and it's also really technical and really fancy if you want it to be. But that's that. We got to do the portfolio, Tim. Where are you standing here? Go ahead. I don't know. Do you have your screen share up yet? I'm going to flip over to yours and see what you got. You're muted, Tim.
Do I have to share this exactly?
Yes, it is your contractually obligated.
See, that's why I muted myself. Well, as far as I'm still down some money. I think. Well, no, I don't think Stellar is still going strong. I still say go for that. We've only lost $1,400 through that. Bitcoin is also. I think it. How
much did you buy? Right, go ahead and click on Bitcoin, and we should see all your positions. So you have two positions there. One for $6,000, one for about 30,000 and five.
I think the 30,000 was when I didn't realize that I was actually. Oh yeah, because no, they were both the same day. I don't know. This is why I'm not good with investments. But see, it just went up though a little bit. It went up by 9,400. So, but just to add to what Daniel said, again, him saying that it's intuitive is one thing. Me saying that it's intuitive is another. But that is exactly what it gives you. It gives you as much like hands-on as you want. It's very simple, very easy to use. But if you're like Daniel, where you enjoy that kind of stuff, you enjoy looking at the charts, or if you do seriously want to get into trading, it's not like these aren't like training wheels. I'm moving my hands around. You guys can see me. But it's not like it's training wheels. It's not going to stop you from actually trading effectively. It's going to do. And the only thing it really can do is good for you. I haven't seen anything yet where it's really an issue. The Stellar has definitely been. It's definitely been moving mostly down.
Well, I hopped on the Stellar train at your whim last week because I told you I would do $2,000 of whatever you wanted me to, and I went with some Stellar. So here's another slightly more technical thing that I found over the past week that is also really helpful. So when I say I have a Stellar position here, or I do a $2,000 Stellar position, I can come in here and set up a take profit order, which will automatically take profit when the Stellar price hits a certain point. So, I mean, that's expected for an exchange. The exchanges should have this type of option, but it's here, and it's great, and it's helpful for a situation where I don't want to watch the Stellar price all day, every day. But so all I got to do is come in here and click on this take profit button and pick a price, and as soon as it hits that price, it will automatically sell. And it even tells you how much profit you would make. So if the Stellar price gets back up to 8.5 cents, I'm going to take a cool $475 profit. But I'm not totally confident that it's going to make it that high. I can still make a profit at an even 8 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and update that to an 8 cent take profit order. And if it hits 8 cents, we'll take the profit of $328. You can also do stop loss, which is the same type of thing for a downward price. So if the price gets down to a certain point, I don't want to lose any more. I think Stellar's crashing. So if it gets down to 2 cents, just dump it. That's what a stop loss is.
Losses. Yeah.
So I learned that exists here on eToro, and it's super helpful for exactly this. For when I'm trying to outmaneuver Tim in this virtual equity competition. I am in the lead here with 98,268. But
you only beat me.
Oh, you know, I did. Let's see here. Oh, I haven't figured out exactly how to see past all your past trades for a given cryptocurrency, because I do have. I want to see completed positions. I did take profit on I believe you know what it was? It was Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic had a huge spike over the past week. Let's go ahead here and look at the 1 month chart. Ethereum Classic spiked a lot. I don't know why, but I took profit on the spike right before it crashed. So that worked out for me. Over here, so it went from about, I don't know, almost $6 to up over $7 over here in the past week or so. Let me zoom in a bit. And let's make these 4-hour candles. So there we go. On the 22nd, Ethereum Classic spiked big time from about 6 up to 7.25 even. I don't know why. I don't follow Ethereum Classic news, and it has since crashed back to where it was. But I am proud of my taking profit here. portfolio, ETC. Oh, it doesn't show up here because it's not in my portfolio anymore because I took profit. So let me go ahead and buy more while we're here. I'm going to go ahead and buy some more Aetherium Classic now that it's crashed again. How about $1,000? Why not? Nice round number. Open that trade. And now, if we go to our portfolio, it is right here as my position. Man, I'm going to... Oh, and you know what? Screw it. Let's set a take profit too. I don't know. We're going to be a little bold here. So we opened at $5.95. Let's just guess that it might spike again up to where it did before, which was about $7.25. If it hits $7.25, we'll take that profit. And update. There you go. Now I have a take profit in there. There you go. So that's Aetherium Classic. It did well for me. I've been enjoying it. And I'm beating Tim, so that's always good.
Not for long. I'm going to get my Aetherium Classic started bumping up.
You buying anything, Tim? You dumping any money into this here?
Yeah, here, I'll jump back over.
Screen that share.
Screen that share. No, don't invite people.
You can set up some take profits, too, if you're not planning on checking every day.
I was looking at Aetherium Classic. What did I do? I bought 1,000.
1,070.
Yeah,
why the extra
that's very
70?
Important. That's very important. Okay, so looking at just to explain this to me, why is it set so high right at the beginning?
I don't know. It starts out at like a 10x. Like it assumes like you'll take profit when it 10x's. So you opened at $5.95, so you would want to take profit above $5.95.
No, I want to take it at 2. I'm going to have a stop loss. See, this is how you work. You confuse the system. So I'll just do a cool little double, almost double thing. Do that.
So the last time Aetherium Classic was at $10, I'm going to say it's probably been a while since it was at $10. Let's check, though.
No stop loss.
Oh, it nudged. It went above 9 in June of this year. Last time it really was above 10 would have been October of last year. So for whatever that's worth, that's where you stand.
2. There.
Whoa. I'm confused. Oh, a stop loss. Got it.
Yeah. No, right. I wasn't complete. Oh, I didn't update it, Daniel. You have to remind me. It didn't save anything. What?
Yeah, get it together, Tim. $10 take profit and a $2.50. All right, yeah, you could do your work on your own time.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to say, if I keep on doing this, I'm just going to look even more of an idiot, so it's not really going to be helpful for anybody.
All right, guys, well, that's eToro. They are our sponsor. We are super grateful to them. If you want to support us by using them, the best way to do it is through meandbtc.com/trade. We'll also have a link in the show notes. Super easy to just tap that and jump in. And within seconds, even if it takes 120 seconds, that's still within seconds, you can have $100,000 of virtual equity to try it out with. Learn how take profit works, learn how stop loss works. Learn the 14 cryptos that they have, which ones you like, which ones you don't like. Get your watch list going. All at eToro. It's meandbtc.com/trade. I think that's a wrap, Tim. You good to go?
Yeah, I mean, the more I'm looking at the eToro, I'm like, yeah, this would have been cool to see back like when trading was first starting, and I might have gotten a little bit better of an idea from it, but that's also some wishful thinking probably.
You could do it, Tim. You could be a day trader. You can't lose.
I can't lose. You're right, because eventually somebody in America will support me just to live. But I don't know. I feel like I would probably rather do just what I'm doing now versus having the just constant worry about losing all of the money because Elon Musk does something. I'm using that example.
Yeah, he sends out an Ethereum Classic tweet and Bitcoin crashes.
Yeah. Oh, great. There goes all my money. Thank you, Mr. Musk. I don't want to have to think about stuff like that. As far as like what I like Bitcoin because anytime something bad happens as far as the economy in the U.S., I can be like, oh, this would be good for Bitcoin. And anytime something good happens, I go, oh, well, maybe Bitcoin will go down, and then they're choking me. Bitcoin will go down, I can buy more. So I like that. That keeps me positive most of the time. Beyond that, it mostly just seems like it'll just be trouble for me. But I don't know, maybe someday if I break my legs and I need to do something, I'll just sit on my Chromebook.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, there's more stuff at BTC.com. Tim has a show. Ryan has a show. Got a brand new show coming out here in a few days, so watch for that.
Nice.
It'll be called Is It Worth It? With two completely new hosts who have never been on our network before. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I'll be putting out another one over this weekend for the Tim's 2 Cent podcast, so check that out.
That too.
Send me all the money, and yeah, have a good week, guys.
Peace out, guys. We love you. Come back sometime.